Welcome everyone, Dylan Gemelli here today with a brand new video for you. So today we are going to talk about the best steroids for fat loss. But before we get into that, huge thank you to everybody supporting the channel. I can't thank you enough. Thank you for the subscriptions, the comments. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel, and after you do, click that bell notification so you don't miss any of the notifications about my new videos coming out. And also, make sure that you follow the SARMS Expert on Apple, Spotify, and Google. Then you can get all of these in podcast form as well. So, let's jump right into it. Top 5 steroids for fat loss. Now, just let me preface this. Many of you have heard me say steroids are not weight loss drugs, because they're not. You're not going to drop 50, 60, 70 pounds and be like on a fat burner or clenbuterol or an ECA stack or whatever the case may be. That is not what steroids are there for. Now, that's not to say that you can't lose fat on them. And the more lean muscle that you gain, the more fat you're going to lose as well. So keep that in mind. But there are definitely steroids that will help you lose fat, especially stubborn areas. And we're going to get into that. So this is my list. Like I said, you guys know how I am with my list. We can debate it, talk about it. Let's just keep it cool and civil and throw out opinions and discuss it. That's what it's all about. And some of these are so close, like I have to number them to make it a good, video, entertaining, etc. You can switch and mix and match, but I think most of us are going to agree on at least the 5 that are grouped in here. So number 5, Masteron. All right, I don't love Masteron so much as a fat loss drug. Masteron, if you want to break it down for what it is, more or less, it's an aesthetic, meaning that it's more for like cutting and for a show and to be more showy. That there's definitely other benefits to it, but that's the main draw to it. That's the main benefit from it, is the physique that you're going to gain from it in terms of polishing. But in fairness, it can clean up some areas around you, and it definitely, you'll notice leaning out on it because you're hardening muscles, so it definitely is going to help you with fat loss. It's not going to be to the level of some of the other ones that I'm going to get into, but it definitely has a spot on this list. I just hate when people think that Masteron is like this huge weight loss drug when it's not. To really get the most out of it, you want to be at a little bit lower body fat so you can see it working more. You're not going to see that muscle hardening and that vascularity come out in things as well if you're not a little bit more on the leaner side. You'll still see it. You're still going to get benefits from it. I'm not going to be one of those guys. And I've talked about this in my Masteron and the 10% body fat rule. But just understand it deserves a place in this list, but don't confuse it as being this miraculous weight loss drug either. Number 4, Winstrol. Winstrol, especially, is something that I've always responded extremely well to, but you're going to notice more lean muscle gain on it than Masteron, and that's why I like it better for fat loss, because the more lean muscle you get, the more fat you lose, like I said. And the muscle hardening on it is tremendous. Just like with Masteron, it's going to have a lot of aesthetically pleasing results. It just does more. You're going to get more strength. You're going to get more lean muscle. You're also going to get more side effects, so keep that in mind. But we're not talking about that in this particular video. I've covered that in other videos. Winstrol could arguably probably be number 3 here, and maybe because I'm so impartial to number 3, admittedly, it's not. But it's definitely in this mix and has top 3 potential for sure. But Winstrol is my number 4. Number 3 is Primabolin. And like I said, you could argue flipping these around. Primo, it's no secret, is my favorite compound. I love Primabolin. It's so consistent. And what I like about it more than Winstrol, well, 2 things, is that it's not an oral steroid, so you're not dealing with the toxicity. You can run it longer. It's not going to have nearly as many side effects as Winstrol. And I feel that you're going to, over the term, gain more lean muscle and more strength, and that's perhaps because you run it longer. But the more lean muscle you're building, the more fat you're losing. And I've always felt that the leaning out and fat loss on Primabolin is really strong, man. It really is. It's not quite to the level of number 1 and 2, but it's definitely up there. I rank it this high with good reason and with great experience on it. So Primabolin, number 3. Number 2, Anavar. Anavar easily belongs at number 2. If number 1 wasn't so blatantly obvious, Anavar would easily be number 1, but number 2 is a very, very, very strong stance for it. Look, Anavar is known to target problematic areas, and it can really help to eliminate belly fat, for example. Anybody that's used it will normally, as long as they had good quality Anavar, attest to this. It targets those areas. It's definitely great for fat loss. It's great for vascularity. It's great for strength. It's great for lean muscle. You're not going to gain as much lean muscle on it as you would with like a Winstrol or a Primabolin, but you're going to gain a good amount, and that's going to also contribute to the fat loss. But it's known to target these areas. And it's really great for that, and it's a more mild compound, which I like as well. Number one, I think, is as obvious as you could possibly be on obvious. It's Trenbolone. I don't think anybody's going to really argue with that one. We're talking about steroids here. We're not talking about Clen, DNP, all of these things that you shouldn't be using anyway, ECA. We're talking about steroids here. So I don't know how anybody could argue with Trenbolone here. I really don't. Look, Tren is known for its nutrient partitioning abilities, allowing you to probably get away with more on your diet than you ever could. But think if you're eating clean on Tren. I mean, it's just unbelievable. The slabs of lean muscle and the slabs of fat you can lose, it's untouchable. Tren is by far and away number one, and it's also by far and away the most side effect riddled. And I don't want anybody that's watching this to get it twisted. This Tren should be used by experienced users only. It's very harsh in so many ways, and I've talked about this in many videos. Just because it's number one on this list doesn't mean everybody should go run out and use it. So I want to throw that disclaimer out there. But it's easily number one. I don't think there's any debate there whatsoever. So that is my top 5 list for best steroids for fat loss. That being said, stay tuned for plenty more to come. Dylan Gemelli, signing off.